Hey everyone, it's Rob Loaf with Daily Classics. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. As I mentioned on my Facebook page, I decided to close the Facebook page down, mostly because of all the spams and bots that I have that come into my inbox every day. Facebook is just growing and growing with fraudulent memberships and things like that. And I have to deflect all that on my group page because it comes into my actual Facebook account, and they're all spams. I mean, they're all robots that are looking to their phishing schemes and things like that, trying to get money. And they basically Facebook does a terrible job in keeping fraudulent people out of that platform, and it's expanded into their marketplace. So you have to be careful on marketplace as well. So what I wanted to do, start a new year, 2025, and introduce this now in December. Get our Facebook page transferred into our new YouTube channel I've had for a couple of months now. We have 372 subscribers. So if you like the channel, please subscribe. And what we can do on YouTube is we can do live video and live feed too. So I can do question and answer type formats weekly once we get over 500 subscribers. And we can have some fun with that as well. So I'm going to continue the same pace that we had on a Facebook page where we find cars every day, comment on them, give you my opinion. What I thought I'd do today is just give a little bit of retrospect of what Daily Classics is all about if you're new to this channel. Basically, I hunt down about 1,000 cars each morning just for my own benefit as a collector for myself, but I also share these findings with everyone. And I try to find the best of the best from a originality, condition, and price point of view. I started the Daily Classics Facebook page during COVID, where I said, what can I buy for $10,000 and below? And because that was always my budget, when I try to find cars, 10, 15,000, $5,000. And, with inflation and all, you can't find much for $10,000, but it's still possible. We find cars on our Facebook page for $5,000 and things like that. That page is still going to be up and running, but I'm not going to be posting anything new on that page, nor will I be monitoring that any longer. So the philosophy in finding cars each day is I basically look at three platforms. I look at Craigslist because Craigslist is like a magnet for all the other marketplaces. Sometimes when you post a car, let's say on Auto Trader or something like that, or if you're a dealer, there's an automatic feed from that software to Craigslist. So you don't have to do anything, it just goes right on there. So Craigslist ends up having some of the same cars that you'll find on other platforms, a lot of duplication and such. Facebook Marketplace is kind of cool, even though there are a lot of spammers on there at times. You have to just be careful once you go way outside of your marketplace, and you have to really dive in on the seller as well. And just like anything else, I mean, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace is really the same when it comes to scammers. The nice thing about Craigslist is that it costs you $25 to put an ad on there. So sometimes it's a little bit more reliable. But Facebook Marketplace has grown greater than any of the Facebook platforms. The reason that Facebook continues to thrive, really, I think it's the marketplace these days more than anything else. And then I have some fun with going to Bring a Trailer. Bring a Trailer is predominantly a very safe site to buy cars. They are a very seller-focused type of site. They tend to sugarcoat some of their listings and some of the descriptions where you're not really sure about things. You got to ask a lot of questions. And Bring a Trailer has also introduced lower priced cars lately over the past couple of years now that you'll find a $5,000, $8,000 car on Bring a Trailer, which is kind of cool to check out and all. There are fees involved to Bring a Trailer, seller and buyer fees. And like anything else, if you buy without seeing, you can get as burnt on Bring a Trailer as you can on Facebook, as you can on Craigslist. So I always recommend, if you're going to spend $5,000 or more on a car, you got to have some eyes on it. Whether you hire an independent inspector to look at the car for you, have a friend, or you take the trip with the car or take a flight out and look at the car. I mean, if you're going to spend $5,000, $10,000 on a car, and the average flight you can get on Spirit Airlines for $275 round trip, you're better off just taking a flight, look at the car, and come home the same day. I mean, that's how I try to buy cars anyway. But I do buy sight unseen, but not as much as I used to. So that's the fun of looking at cars. When I go back to Craigslist, The nice thing about looking at cars each day, I kind of pretend that I'm basically, visiting any part of the country that I want to visit. So you get a chance to experience all different states and the types of conditions of cars they have. I'm going to generalize by saying that, Texas cars are all very dry and rust free, where, the Northeast, Michigan type cars, Maine, Massachusetts, even where I live in New York State, they tend to have more rust and they tend to be a little more beat up, but doesn't mean that they don't have heated garage and things like that. So I'm not prejudiced. I'll buy a car anywhere throughout the country. I love visiting all the different states in the United States. I also like getting a little bit of the culture when I do land in a different state to buy a car and visit with people and such like that. So, the southern states normally have dry cars, but they have moisture and they have things that you have to worry about too. Rust is everywhere except for the dry states and in the mid, out west in Texas, Utah, and things like that. So what I look at every day is I try to mix it up a little bit. So I'll go into Austin, Texas. When I do look at a car, I set my criteria for a certain type of model year. I'll set it for 1960. So I'll put in 1960 until max of 2008. Don't ask me why I go to 2008, but I do. I also look at the type of cars. I'll take convertible coupe, hatchback, sedan, wagon, and other on Craigslist, and also is a good place to be because other sometimes you'll find a Lotus Europa and some cars that really don't have any drop down menus anymore, like a TR7 and things like that. Condition of the car, I don't touch. Title status, I do want a clean title, or at least somebody that has a title on the car. I stay away from salvage and rebuilt cars most of the times, unless I'm looking for a driver to go to point A to point B. Sometimes you can find a good salvage car, but that's a real buyer beware type of situation. You really have to be at a graduate level of this industry to buy something that's a salvage or rebuilt car, because it is exactly what it is. It's rebuilt, and who rebuilt it? Your guess is mine. So. And I hit apply, and now here I am in Austin, Texas. I have 273 cars that fill that criteria, and I'll just start looking at cars. Just like you and I. I mean, I just start looking at cars that might attract my attention. Here's a 1995 Rover Mini Cooper. It's a kind of fun car. $11,900 seems to be not a bad price if you're looking for a Mini Cooper, the newer generation Mini Coopers, which has a different dashboard and all that stuff. Not a big fan, but that caught my eye right away. You'll see some cars that come in from Japan sometimes that get through. Here's a Honda S2000 with 31,000 miles. Absolutely wonderful car. They tend to be this is $28,000. That's a little bit high. Maybe not high, so this definitely would have eyes for me, something that I would probably dive in a little bit. The car's manual transmission, looks like it's a dealer. Yes, it is. And it's based in Washington State. Now here's a situation. So here we are on Craigslist Marketplace in Austin, Texas, and this car finds its place here from Washington State. So I would discount this car right off the bat, or I would go into Washington State or go into this guy's website to see what this car is all about. But why this car here is on Craigslist in Austin, Texas, kind of sends my alerts up a little bit, and I probably would pass on that car right away, or at least go into Washington State or the dealer's website to look at cars. So this is what I do every day. I have to struggle here with a cup of coffee in the morning. It's a good way to wake up. Here's a BMW Z3 with 39,000 miles. It's a manual transmission. Not a bad car if you like that type of car design. The coupe is called the Clown Shoe. But I also, being on this every day, I see cars that have been on this site for a long time. Like this Camaro here has been on Craigslist for over a year and a half now, and its price keeps going up. And so you get familiar with cars, you see cars, and you see a lot of scams. I mean, anytime you see a motorhome on Craigslist, 90% of the times motorhomes are scams because they're trying to get the older folks like me to buy into a scam. And most people that are shopping for a motorhome tend to be over 65 up, and they want to sell their house and buy a motorhome. And so motorhomes, stay away from buying a motorhome on Craigslist, period. There's better places to look. Here's a nice car that I like a lot, the Lexus IS 400. Fantastic car, 130,000 miles. Um, this might be a car that I might recommend to dive in. I mean, this car looks like it has original paint, possibly the door jam. How do I know that? Well, the door jams don't show any overspray, but that's kind of generalizing a bit. A great car, great. Uh, yeah, the paint here doesn't look that great. So this car may not be the car to buy. Yeah, this car is definitely not the car to buy, but you can see that the car has had some abuse over its years, but a car that's on my radar list. So anyway, so that's just, I'm not going to find a car today. I'm just going to take you through some of the philosophy of how I search and what I do and how I wrestle with myself every day to try to find something that I can afford um, and that I like. Sometimes when you see cars too good to be true, too cheap, um, you question it. An automatic Pontiac Fiero GT. Just because it's an automatic, I would not even consider it. So that's off the radar screen for me. Sometimes these older cars. Here's a 1974 Mercury Montego. Nice car, 351 CID engine, Cleveland, probably a Windsor engine, not a Cleveland motor, but kind of fun cars. These cars are always cheap to find. If it's a Texas car, it might be rust free. You can see he took his convertible top off and took some mastic tape and decided to repaint the top. It's what you do. Car may have been outside, so the top part of the car might be faded and all. Would I buy this car for $3,500? Probably not, because you can find other cars in much better condition for like $5,000, $6,000 if you do some search. So the painted top is a turn off for me without going any further. And so that's my process of elimination. That's what I do. The other site is obviously Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is a good place to find cars and motorcycles and things like that. But again, you got to be careful because you don't know who you're working with, and just like Craigslist and all. I love the C4 Corvettes. Their pricing right now has really become more and more attractive. Here's a New Jersey. Here's a beautiful 1994 Corvette. It's a good model year, LT1 six-speed manual transmission, 35,000 miles for under $10,000. Yeah, this is definitely a car that I would probably recommend looking into if this type of car is something that really turns you on. I think these cars now in the $5,000, $6,000 range are a lot of fun. And this car looks to be a good example of it. When I see a car on Facebook, I'll look at the seller. The seller here has been on Facebook since 2016. I'll click on his link. He's got 83 friends. So the chances are pretty good this guy is a flipper that just buys and sells cars. And if you go into his profile, you'll see more about his profile, very responsive. So he might be a real person, but probably somebody that's basically flipping cars, and he has his own website, his own Facebook page just to get that done. But the C4 Corvettes are very nice deals to pick up. They have their problems, the OptiSpark and all that. I've changed 3 OptiSparks on these generation cars. I've had no problem doing it in my garage. So I don't know it's just a little expensive to change and all that. It's a hassle. But once you're in there changing the OptiSpark, you can change your hoses, you can change your radiator, you can do a lot of things when you're working on it. You can, obviously vent it out so it doesn't have any moisture in it anymore. But people are very against the OptiSpark, but I haven't had any problems with it. But a nice car, a lot of fun. If you can pick this car up for $8,000, might be something you buy. And that's it. And then bring a trailer. I like bring a trailer because this is where my friends always send me links to say, "Hey, Rob, what do you think about this one?" And I'll look at it and I'll go, "Oh my God, it's so expensive." I go to the no reserve auctions all the time because I like buying on a no reserve auction. I do like to look at cars that are ending soon just to jump ahead a little bit. But again, I wouldn't buy a car on Bring a Trailer unless I had somebody put eyes on it for me. So it's a buyer beware site because there are not that there are scammers on here, but sometimes the descriptions on this Bring a Trailer site will say, paint looks nice instead of saying paint is original. Yeah, some listing agents will put a paint meter on a car, but they tend to fluff the descriptions of the cars. Um, they write it very pro seller. Of course, they're going to do that, right? Because the seller's paying the money. So you got to read through that stuff. They'll say, 30,000 miles shown on the speedometer. What does that mean? What does 30,000 miles shown mean? Is that the original mileage on the car? I want to know, that type of thing. So, but Bring a Trail is a great place to be. And so is, all the other sites that we look at. So that's the philosophy of Daily Classics. That's Rob Lofaris. You're going to watch me every week. I'll be posting a new video where I'll find a car, and maybe I'll search a couple of cars. Like I'll look at 67 GTOs one day and just try to find one that I would buy, or I'll look at a Porsche 911, an 83 911 SC, and I'll try to find one live and try to post it for all my viewers to kind of shop and look at. Like everything else, if I find a car, please, it's just buyer beware. So always do your own research. I can't guarantee the condition of the cars online, of course. I can only give you my observation. That is something I would seek out and maybe take it to a step further. Again, if you like this YouTube channel, please subscribe and like the channel and share with friends that love cars. We'll see you again here real soon. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great day. Bye-bye.